let's begin firstly by talking about this concept of depression. So I wrote down some notes here, and I'm going to try and smash through them as many of them as I can. So the first thing that I wrote down is that there are nine leading causes of depression, and two of them are biological, and the other seven are social. And I thought that that was really important because many of us live under the illusion that a lot of what causes us to go down that path where we end up depressed, where we end up suicidal, that a lot of it's to do with our genes. And it is. There is, of course, a certain percentage of it that is to do with our genes, but it's only two that are biological, meaning you cannot do anything about it. Meaning it's to do with the serotonin, a lack of serotonin in your brain chemistry, right? We know that some people do indeed have biological genes and dispositions and characteristic traits that indeed make them more, uh, what's the word, more, have a more leaning towards being able to get depression or become depressed in their life. The second thing that I wrote down here is depression is measured on what is called the Hamilton scale. Okay, so the Hamilton scale goes all the way from 1 to 51, and essentially depend depending on the different things that you do in your life, which of course help improve the quality of your life, right? What will happen is you will get either more points or less points. So for example, and this is what I really want to get across to you, if you improve your sleeping pattern, on average, you will gain about 6 points on that scale. Meaning, of course, the more points you have, the more healthier you are, the more vitality you have, the more joy you have in your life, the more momentum you'll be able to create in your life, right? But here is where it gets interesting, and this is what I really want you to get. On average, antidepressants will only move you on that scale about 1.8 points. Okay, so most of us think that antidepressants are going to be the answer. If I'm depressed, give me antidepressants. But the reality of it is that antidepressants actually don't equate and don't improve the quality of your life. And I'm sure you've now, listen, let me go back and put that in parentheses. Of course, antidepressants have a place and they do relieve pain. But the way you have to think about antidepressants is that you have to think about them as like a plaster, right? When you have antidepressants, they're simply just covering up the wound, but you've got to do the work. And what I want to try and really articulate to you, and is something that I've really had to think about myself, is that if you take antidepressants, which will help you manage the two biological aspects and causes of depression, but you leave out the other seven, what will end up happening is that you will continuously continue to become depressed over and over and over and over and over again, right? And the question that I want to pose to you is, are you focusing, when it comes to your health and vitality and joy and your emotional state, are you spending the majority of your life focusing on trying to find on the things that you cannot change or on the things that you can change? Are you focusing on your health? Are you focusing on doing work that is meaningful to you? Are you focusing on surrounding yourself with positive people? Are you working out healthily, regularly? Are you eating regularly? It's no surprise, guys, every single time you go to your GP because there's something wrong with you, what are one of the first things they ask you? What's your sleeping been like recently? Are you on any medication? And have you been exercising and eating healthily? The reason is because those are foundational. They're foundational principles that if you cannot apply in your life, everything else falls. It's like trying to build the Eiffel Tower on the foundations of something like a one-bedroom house. It just doesn't work, right? You need bigger foundations. And so what I would share with you, and it may be something that you want to think about, if you do find that you do have a disposition to go to those dark sides of yourself where you do feel depressed, where you linger and tend to divulge into those dark aspects of suicidal thoughts, of suicidal ideation, of feeling really depressed, of having no meaning in your life, of apathy, right, of indifference, then I ask you to really ask yourself if you are focusing on those things which you can control, right? What else did I write here? I wrote down here that one of the answers to depression is to go back to what caused it in the first place, It's interesting, right? That's what the guy was saying as I was listening to his speech. He said, you really have to focus on what caused your depression. And I think a lot of us don't really focus on what caused our depression. A lot of us get the antidepressants, which is the plaster, but we forget, yes, in order to heal, you have to do the work. And I ask you to ask yourself if you've done the work. Are you doing the work of forgiving your parents? You know, I say to people all the time, and it's something, there is a book that I'm writing called Kidulthood to Adulthood, which is a book about how you basically become a man, right? And what it means to be a man today. And one of the things that I talk about in that book is that in order to truly become a man and to live your best life and to achieve greatness, at some point you're going to have to forgive your parents, right? And it's very, very difficult because a lot of the pain that adults are experiencing, that pain is coming from the burden that they're carrying of the expectations that their parents had of them. You know, I say to people, and I wrote it in my book, I said that we all have two dreams in life. The first dream that we have is our own dream. The first dream we have is our parents' dream, right? Before we're even born, our parents want us to become successful. They want us to do well in life. They want us to go traveling. They want us to be into football, whatever it may be for your parents. The second dream that we have is our own dreams. And what ends up happening is that as you're supposed to get older, you're supposed to cut the cord of your parents' dreams and marry your own dreams and embrace your destiny, right? And not be at the mercy and the fate of your parents. And you tend to find that a lot of people who are tethering on and lingering in those darker emotions are not really in control and in charge of their life. They don't feel like they're in the driving seat of their life. They don't feel that their life has meaning, that their life has purpose. They feel as though their life has been fated for them instead of them creating and designing their life. And what I would encourage you to do is that you may have to do that work of forgiving your parents, right? It's an easy place to start. And that may be forgiving yourself for allowing your parents to allow you to be in this position, right? And so it's just something that I just thought I would share with you. And I just thought maybe you might want to look at that and ask yourself, have you been doing the work? Have you been focusing on the 7 things? And look, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm just saying to you, you will, if you do the research, and this will be part of your work, because they're different, you know, some things are different for all of us. As you do that work, is going to help you start doing the work on yourself. It's going to really help you start improving your attitude, your philosophy, and refining your philosophy, working on having control, working on designing your life, on creating a vision for your life. I truly believe that if you start doing that work and really focusing on the things that you can control, you can honestly live the most remarkable life. The most remarkable life. And I just feel like a lot of people don't embrace what they can control and instead focus on the things that they can't control and are waiting for a savior. I say save yourself, right? Every single one of us has to come to the realization that no one is coming. No one is going to be the savior. And if they were going to come, then they probably would have been here by now, right? So that's what I wanted to share with you in that first point, and I hope it gives you something to think about. So the second thing that I wanted to share with you is that there is a benefit in giving things up temporarily so that you can understand our relationship, or you can understand the relationship that you have with them.